guys, Flavia from the Fabulous Planner here. Today I want to talk a little bit about my story. A lot of people on Instagram always ask me where I'm from, or how did I end up in the US, how was this transition, and so I decided to make a video to tell you a little bit about my life and how the Fabulous Planner came to be, and I hope you enjoy. So first things first, my name is Flavia, I'm 34 and I'm married and I have two adorable dogs and I live in Los Angeles right now. I'm from Brazil, born and raised. Fun fact, Brazil is in South America and we don't speak Spanish, we speak Portuguese. We're the only country in South America that speaks Portuguese. I know everyone is confused, but we speak Portuguese. So I was born and raised in São Paulo, which is a big city, kind of like New York, super crazy. People are always in a bad mood, always working, workaholics. It's all about money. And so I grew up there, and when I was a kid, all I can say is that I was super artsy. I always loved drawing. Even like, it's funny that I used to do fashion illustration when I was super little, like designing dresses, and it's so crazy that I don't know why I didn't actually went after this during, I don't know, like college. I went more towards the business side, but the creative and the artsy things are always I always liked better. But anyway, I don't know why, but I was always so obsessed about USA since I was a kid. When people ask you, oh, what are you gonna do when you grow up, I would always say, oh, I'm gonna go live in America. I don't know why, and it is really crazy. If someone believes in past life or something, I truly think that in another life I lived here before, because I'm gonna get to that in a little bit. Anyways, I was also super obsessed about Disney, and it was just so out of my reach to ever go to Disney because my parents were always broke. Like, we barely had money to get by. And when I turned 15, in Brazil we have kind of like the quinceañera. If you're Spanish or Spanish, you probably know what it is. Like, we make that big party. It's just like the sweet 16 here, but there's when we turn 15. But I didn't want that. I was like, I don't want to spend all this money in one night. Like, I don't care. I don't want to get dressed up. I don't really care. So, and then I told my parents, like, why don't we get this money and you send me to Disney and I'll be turning this dream in a reality. So we made it happen. I was lucky enough that my uncle and my cousins were going, so I kind of just went with them, and it was super cool. But after, I was even more obsessed about the US and coming to live here. Such a great time, and people were so nice. Everything was so clean and happy, and I was a teenager, so I was really obsessed about it. But then, I went back to Brazil, and then I started working. I started working when I was 16. In retail, so I was just working at a clothing store because I always loved fashion. So for me, that was great. I loved the job. When I was 16, I would spend most of my salary on clothes, not gonna lie. But when you're a teenager, what you're gonna do? You don't have any bills to pay. That money was just for myself. And when it came the time to go to college, I really wanted to go to fashion school. But in Brazil, we have, like, at that time, we had, I think, 2 or 3 fashion schools, and they were crazy expensive, like super expensive, like out of reach expensive. And so my dad told me, he was like, I can't pay for this. Even if you work, you can't pay for this. And there we don't have, back then we didn't have, I know today they do have, but back then we didn't have the financial for students like you guys have here. I'm kind of glad, because then I would probably be paying until today. So I'm kind of glad they didn't have. But anyways, I didn't go to fashion school. I went to business school. And then that was the advice my dad gave me. He was like, go to business school, because when you do business, you know, you can work anywhere. And then maybe you can find a job in a fashion company, or you can just get a job that's gonna pay you well, and then you go do your fashion school after, when you have your own money to pay for it. And I was like, okay, you know, it's a smart choice. Anyways, I went to school, then I got a really good job. I was working marketing, making a lot of money. This is like fast forward to my, I don't know, 25, yeah, 25, 26. I was making a lot of money. I was enjoying life, but I kind of feel like empty. You know, I was making all this money. I was living in a nice place, not living with my parents anymore. I was spending all my money in clothes and shoes, and I had a nice car, and everything seemed perfect, but I was feeling so empty, like something was missing. I don't know. So I think it was back in 2010 or 11, I came to California for a vacation. So I came to spend 20 days, 20 days in LA, and you know, like San Diego, we went everywhere. But that was the time, that was the trip that changed my life. The feeling I got when I was here in LA, it was insane. Like I can't even describe. It was something like, I felt home. I felt so good. And I really felt like this is where I'm supposed to be. I know it sounds crazy, but I really felt that. So I left, you know, I was supposed to come here only for 20 days. And I was like, well, maybe I'm just feeling like this because I really liked the place. I don't know. But when I got back to Brazil, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I couldn't stop. I was like, you know, we just have one life. We've got to live it. And what if I die tomorrow? You know, am I gonna die happy? Like, no, I feel like it's so empty here. I need to do something to change this. So I thought a lot about it. Like, I think it took me a year to actually make a decision after this trip. It took me a year to make this decision. And I saved up a bunch of money. And I decided that I was gonna come to the US to study fashion and just, you know, try to live a little bit and see how it goes. So I saved up enough money for 6 months. I went to New York first to go to FIT. If you guys don't know about it, FIT is a really good fashion school in New York. So I did some classes, not the whole college thing, just some classes like here and there, just to see, you know, to get the feeling if that's what I wanted or not. And I loved it, but New York was not for me. It reminded me a lot of São Paulo, of the stress, and I don't really wanted it. Like, I wanted to get out of there, and I had a plan that to go study in New York and then I would come to California. That was the plan already. So I stayed in New York for, I don't know, 2-3 months. Then I came to LA and I felt so good. It's like my dreams were coming true. Like, seriously, I'm not gonna say it was all roses and pink. No, it was, I struggled a lot, especially with money, with the language, because I thought I knew English when I got here, but then people speak so fast and there's all these words that you don't learn at school, you know. And then I was like, what's going on? Like, I can't understand anyone. Truth is, I was having the time of my life, even with all the struggles, with everything that was going on. I was really happy because I felt like this was home. And that was another thing though about being in Brazil. I never felt like I was home. Like, I always tell people, joking, but it's kind of true, that I'm not the regular Brazilian, and I'm just not. I don't like the same things they do, and I always felt like a fish out of the sea. I don't even know if that's even a saying here, but I just felt like I didn't belong. And here it's the opposite. So I came prepared to stay for 6 months, and I was going to school. So I came with a student visa. I went to the school to learn English, you know, to get better at it. And then I stayed, and then I got some internships here and there in fashion companies, and I was loving it. I was loving it, and I really thought that was what I wanted to do for my life. And soon, right after that, I also met my husband. Well, now he's my husband, but I met him, and you know, we got along so great. Like, after a month I was living with him, and after I think 6 months we got married, and we're still married. It's been 6 years now, and 6 years? 5 years. I don't know, I'm confused. That was 2014. Yeah, 6 years. So I started working in fashion companies, and the Fabulous Planner came as a total hobby. I'm gonna do another video about it, like how I actually grew the business and all of it. I'm just gonna keep this video as my personal story, and I'll record another one about the business. But just to give you a little bit of information, the Fabulous Planner was born in 2015. I was living in the mountains with my husband because he was so tired of LA. He wanted to take a break, and so we went to the mountains. We were living near Yosemite. It's a really beautiful place, but it's boring as. And I had to find what to do with my time, you know. But I was still working for this company. I was working from home, but still, like, all the, you know, when I finished working for them, I had so much time on my hands. So that's how the Fabulous Planner started. I started creating inserts and dashboards for my planner, and then I was always on Etsy searching for things, and I was like, you know what, I think I'm gonna list those on Etsy and see how it goes, you know, because why I started the business was because I couldn't find anything I liked for my planner. Everything was kind of too plain or too colorful, kind of childish, and I wanted something like chic, you know, like, and with the fashion illustration, because I always loved it. So that's how I started the business, because I couldn't find what I wanted, so I started doing my own, and then I listed on Etsy and start selling like next day. So the next video, I'm gonna talk about how the shop actually came to be. I'm sorry for the long video, but I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.